There's an ache that stays when the day is gone. Not loud, not sharp, just lingering on. It sits beside me like an old friend. Doesn't ask for much, just wants to be seen. And I let it stay, I let it stay, like smoke from a fire on a cold winter day. It doesn't break me, it doesn't demand, it only reminds me I'm still human. I used to run when the feeling came near. Now I pour it a cup and hold it here. We talk in silence, we breathe real slow. The ache and I, we've come to know. And I let it stay, I let it stay, like smoke from a fire on a cold winter day. It doesn't break me, it doesn't demand, it only reminds me I'm still human. Oh, some nights it feels like an old love song, the kind that hurts but still feels like home. I let it linger, I let it flow. So I let it stay, I let it stay, let it wrap around me in its own sweet way. No need to fix it, no need to hide. I'll sit with the ache till it says goodnight. I used to wake up heavy before the day even began, like my heart was already tired of carrying everything again. Now the mornings reach me softer, not easier, just less sharp somehow, like the grief finally loosened its hands around me. Somewhere after the sadness, I found a quieter way to live. Not happier, not untouched, just gentler with myself at night. like tears drying slowly on your face after nobody else is awake. Your memory still appears sometimes in small unguarded moments, but it no longer empties the room inside me the way it once did. I stopped asking old feelings to leave all at once, and little by little my heart stopped fearing their return. Somewhere after the sadness, the silence changed its shape. Not lonely, not endless, just quieter than before. And every piece of grief I carried feels lighter in my chest now, like something finally setting down after traveling too far alone. Maybe peace isn't something sudden. Maybe it's just this: the moment your heart stops bracing for pain every day. Somewhere after the sadness, I learned how to stay with myself again. The ache still lives somewhere inside me, but it no longer speaks for everything. And tonight, for the first time in years, I let the feeling pass through me without turning away from it. Softly, the hurt lost its grip, and I stayed. For a long time, I confused numbness with peace, because emptiness felt easier than carrying every feeling fully. I sat through whole conversations without really being inside them, like my heart had gone somewhere far away and forgotten the road back. Then came the first night. I didn't feel numb anymore, not healed, not happy, just suddenly able to feel life touching me again. And strangely, that hurt less than the emptiness had. Like my heart finally waking up after sleeping too long beneath the weight of everything. I started noticing little things again, the warmth hidden in familiar voices, the way music lingered afterward instead of passing straight through me. There were still evenings that felt heavy, still moments I folded inward, but the feeling moved differently now, less like drowning, more like rain passing through. Yes, the first night I didn't feel numb anymore. The sadness still reached me, but it no longer arrived alone. There was something My body no longer feared completely, like I had finally stopped expecting every feeling to ruin me. I thought healing meant becoming lighter, but maybe healing begins here, the moment your heart starts answering the world again. That was the first night I didn't feel numb anymore. The ache still lives quietly somewhere inside me, but it no longer disconnects me from myself. And tonight, for once, I let every feeling rise naturally, without trying to shut it back down. Softly, my heart stayed awake, even after the feeling passed. For a while I felt faded, like my soul had gone to sleep, like the light had stepped back softly, running silent under me. I was moving without knowing if the warmth would ever stay. Then a little change came over what had slowly slipped away. Color comes back slow, soft as morning on the skin. Color comes back slow, where the ache had always been. Not all at once, not in a rush, just enough to let me know. Color comes back slow. I can feel a gentle stirring in the parts I kept turned down. Not a flood and not a fire, just a calm I have found. Every breath feels a little kinder, every thought a little less cold. What was quiet for so long now starts to open, starts to glow. Maybe healing isn't thunder, maybe healing speaks this way, in a hush and steady mercy, in a love that learns to stay. Color comes back slow, soft as morning in the heart. Color comes back slow, right where I had come apart. Not all quiet air begins to clear. My shoulders drop, my hands unfold, and something gentle takes a hold. I'm breathing with you, slowly now, in and out. We take a vow, no need to speak, no need to try, just breathe in here, you and I. The day has left its heavy trace, but in this moment there's a grace. My tired heart begins to ease and finds its rhythm in this peace. I'm breathing with you, slowly now, in and out. We take a vow, no need to speak, no need to try, just breathe in here, you and I. And if the night feels long and wide, I'll stay right here, right by your side. I'm breathing with you, slowly, gently true. Nothing left to chase, nothing left to do, just breathe in with you. This old heart of mine has traveled far, carried every joy and every scar. But tonight it beats so soft and true, like it's finally come back home to you. This old heart of mine just wants to rest in gentle time. No need to prove, no need to shine. It's safe and warm right here inside. It used to ache when nights were long, but now it sings its own quiet song, a softer rhythm, a kinder beat, holding me so tenderly and sweet. This old heart of mine just wants to rest in gentle time. No need fear inside, and I whisper softly, thank you, dear, for staying with me all these years. This old heart of mine has loved me through the darkest night. Tonight I hold it close and tight. This old heart of mine feels warm and right. For a while, I stopped feeling like myself. Not suddenly, just through small unnoticed changes. I stopped replying right away. I stopped humming to the radio. I moved through ordinary afternoons like someone carrying invisible bruises. Started coming back to myself in small forgotten moments I almost missed completely, like laughing before thinking, or sleeping without waking up heavy, or realizing the sadness had gone quiet for whole pieces of the day. There are still mornings where loneliness reaches me first, but it no longer follows me everywhere like it once did. I stopped trying to return to the person I was before everything hurt, and somewhere in that letting go, something softer returned to me. Yes, somewhere I started coming back to myself. Now healed, not finished, just easier to recognize again. And every piece of grief inside me feels lighter against my body now, like old winter clothes hanging untouched long after the cold has passed. I thought healing would feel dramatic, but it felt more like this. Looking at my own reflection one morning and no longer feeling far away from it. Somewhere I started coming back to myself. The ache still reaches me certain evenings, but it no longer takes my whole sense of self with it. And tonight, for once, I let myself remain unfinished without mistaking that feeling for failure. Softly, I found pieces of myself again. Waiting where I left them. its way through the longest night. It doesn't pull, it doesn't lead, just gently touches what I need. I follow where this silver thread may go, slow and quiet, soft and slow. It leads me back to who I used to know, before the world taught me to run alone. The heavy years have left their mark, but this thin thread still finds the dark. It weaves through all the cracks I hide and turns them slowly into light. I follow where this silver thread may go, slow and quiet, soft and slow. It leads me back to who I used to know, before the world taught me to run alone. And when I feel I've lost the way again, I close my eyes and feel the thread within. I follow where this silver thread may go, the gentlest path I've ever known. It holds me close, it lets me be. The silver thread is home to me. I felt the old ache fading, like a shadow losing form. Not all at once, not all at once, but softer than before. There was warmth inside the silence, there was calm I did not see, a tender kind of mercy laying gold across me. Saffron in the slow air, soft against my skin. A quiet light is turning where the dark had been. Saffron in the slow air, warm and passing through. Every tired part of me begins to open too. I don't need I don't need to know why the heart grows lighter when it lets go slow. There is peace in being honest, there is grace in being worn, there is love that keeps arriving in a shape so warm. If tomorrow brings the old weight, I will not fall apart. I have learned that gentle healing knows the way back to the heart. Saffron in the slow air, clear and calm and deep. A little more of living wakes inside of me. Saffron in the slow air, soft and staying true. Every broken thread of me finds its way back through. I kept the hurt in quiet places where it would not ask for more. Thought if I could hold it still enough, it might not reach my core. Then a warmer shade came through me, like a promise without sound, not to take away the sorrow, just to lay some mercy down. When marigold returns, it doesn't rush the dark, it lays a gentle fire along the sleeping heart. Line by line it mends what sorrow could not move. When marigold returns, I return too. I can feel the weight grow lighter, not all gone, but less than before. What once lived inside the silence doesn't rule me anymore. There is peace inside the slowing, there is grace in being true, there is love that keeps on finding every tender part of you. If the old ache comes returns. It comes in steady light. It warms the hidden places that stayed cold through every night. Line by line it heals what fear once pulled apart. When marigold returns, it blooms inside my heart. I've been holding too tightly to a feeling worn and thin, like a door left half open to the hurt that wandered in. Now the silence feels kinder. Now the air begins to ease. What was knotted in the dark starts to loosen quietly. Unwind in me, slow and tender. Unwind in me till I remember how to be still, how to be free. All that was heavy, unwind in me. I don't need a sudden answer. I don't need to force the light. There is healing in the softening. There is mercy in tonight. Every breath becomes a little more forgiving than before. Like my heart has found a rhythm, it can finally rest inside. If the old pain tries to linger, I will let it pass on through. I'm not the fear I carried. I am something warm and true. Unwind in me, slow and tender. Unwind in me till I remember how to let go, how to believe. All that was restless, unwind in me. Unwind in me. Settle in peace. For a long time, I thought the feeling would stay forever. Like my body had memorized sadness too deeply to let it go. I carried it into everything. Even ordinary afternoons felt heavier then. Like I was always one thought away from falling back into it. But the feeling finally passed not not suddenly, not all at once, just slowly enough for me to trust it. And one evening I noticed my chest felt lighter before I even understood why. Like my heart had quietly stopped waiting for something painful to happen. There are still songs I skip sometimes, still certain words that catch inside me, but they no longer pull me backward for hours at a time. I stopped reopening old hurt just to prove it still existed. And somewhere in that surrender, the heaviness began leaving on its own. Yes, the feeling finally passed. The fear stopped living in every silence. Not gone, not erased, just no longer attached to everything. And every piece of grief I carried feels different against my body now, like taking off something heavy you forgot you'd been wearing for years. I thought healing would feel obvious, but it arrived quietly instead. One day I simply stopped hurting as loudly, and the feeling finally passed. The ache no longer reaches every corner of me. The sadness still returns without warning sometimes, but it no longer changes who I am for the rest of the night. And tonight, for once, I let the memory rise and disappear without following it down. Softly, the feeling moved through me and kept moving. The house is quiet, the day is done. I sit here talking to no one, just me and all these thoughts I've known, turning slowly into something of my own. One slow breath, that's all I need tonight. One slow breath to make the heavy feel light. No hurry, no worry, no place to be, just one slow breath, and it's enough for me. I tell my worries they can stay, but they don't have to have their way. I let them sit here by my side, like tired friends who no longer need to hide. One That's all I need tonight. One slow breath to make the heavy feel light. No hurry, no worry, no place to be. Just one slow breath, and it's enough for me. And if tomorrow feels too loud again, I'll come back here and find this gentle friend. One slow breath, that's all I need tonight. One slow breath to set my spirit right. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. Just one slow breath, and I let it all go. Your name crossed my mind today, and nothing inside me collapsed. I just stood there for a second, letting the feeling pass. It would have scared me once, how calm the memory felt. But maybe peace arrives like this, without announcing itself. And the things that no longer hurt still stay with me sometimes. They just settle more softly now in quieter corners of my life. No anger, no reaching back, just love losing some of its weight without losing all of its meaning. Used to replay old conversations like they could change if I listened enough. Now they drift through me differently, like smoke thinning into the air. There are evenings I still miss you, but not in the unbearable way. More like hearing distant music from another part of myself. And the things that no longer hurt still return when the world gets quiet. But they no longer pull me under the way they once could. No dramatic healing, no perfect closure, just time moving carefully through me until my heart softened around the edges. Maybe surviving changes you gently. Maybe that's why I feel lighter now. And the things that no longer hurt no longer ask me to disappear inside them. The sadness still visits now and then, but it sits beside me more peacefully. And tonight I let the memories come and leave without turning every feeling into another kind of grief. lost its voice, and I stay. I don't need the answers anymore. I just need to sit here on the floor with all the pieces scattered around my feet, and let them rest a while with me. It's warm enough right here, right now, even with the cracks, even with the doubt. I don't have to be strong, I don't have to try. It's warm enough just being alive. The girl who used to fight so hard is learning how to drop her guard. She's tired of carrying what she can't control, so tonight she's giving up the load. It's warm enough right here, right now, even with the cracks, even with the doubt. I don't have to be strong, I don't have to try. It's warm enough just being alive. And if the cold tries to creep back in, I'll wrap these arms around myself again. It's warm enough right here, right now. The quiet holds me, shows me how. Nothing left to prove, nothing left to hide. It's warm enough, and I'm alright inside. I was keeping all the silence in the corners of my chest, like if I stayed still enough, the hurt might learn to rest. Then a softer kind of color moved across the tired spark, not too bright, not asking much, just heal on the tender dark. Teal on the tender dark, soft and slow, a little peace begins to show. Teal on the tender dark, calm and true, every fragile part of me lets the healing through. I don't need to rush the morning, I don't need the whole sky clear. There is mercy in the breathing. There is comfort staying near. What was heavy starts to loosen. What was strained begins to ease. Love can come in quiet colors and still move through me deep. If the old ache finds me later, I will not give it my name. I have learned that gentle living can outlast a harder pain. There is strength inside the softness. There is light that does not force. There is hope inside a heart that learns to trust its course. Teal on the tender dark, warm and wide. A little more of living opens up inside. Teal on the tender dark, clear and new. Every broken thread in me finds a kinder blue. There's a string I cannot see that ties my heart so quietly. It pulls me gently when I stray and leads me back to where I need to stay. This invisible string keeps holding on, even when I feel that I am gone. It never breaks, it never pulls too tight, just whispers, come back home tonight. I've wandered down so many roads, carried burdens and heavy loads, but every time I lose my way, this unseen string still finds a way. This invisible string keeps holding on, even when I feel that I am gone. It never breaks, it never pulls too tight, just whispers, come back home tonight. And in the darkest hour I've known, I feel it tug, and I am not alone. This invisible string keeps holding on through every invisible stream is where I've always been. I was holding too much thunder in the center of my chest, trying hard to keep from falling, trying harder not to rest. Then a hush came down around me, not to hide the truth I wore, just to turn the sharpest edges into something soft once more. Velvet after the storm, warm against my skin. What was rough and restless loses weight within. Velvet after the storm, slow and deep and true, a gentler kind of healing comes walking through. Now the ache no longer owns me, even when it passes by. I can feel a steady mercy in the way I breathe tonight. Not a fire, not a breaking, just a calm that holds its form, like the heart can still remember. Velvet after the storm. If the dark returns tomorrow, I will not unlearn this grace. There is strength inside the softness. There is light I do not chase. Velvet after the storm, soft enough to stay. Every tender part of me finds a kinder way. Velvet after the storm, clearer than before. What was lost in all the sorrow surface where no one sees. There's a river flowing soft and free. It carries all the things I've never said and turns them gently into quiet rest. Beneath the surface, I am known not for the strength that I have shown, but for the softness I've been hiding there, and all the love that I still bear. I used to fear the depth inside my chest, thought it was weakness, thought it was a mess. But now I listen when it calls my name and let it teach me how to feel again. Beneath the surface, I am known not for the strength that I have shown, but for the softness I've been hiding there, and all the love that I still bear. Down below, where the water runs so slow, I find the pieces I thought I'd never know. Beneath the surface, I am known, held by a grace I've finally grown. No need to rise, no need to shine, just resting here beneath the surface. I am fine. For a long time, everything felt far away from me. People talking, music playing, whole days passing without reaching me fully. I moved through afternoons like I was standing behind glass somewhere, watching life continue without knowing how to step back inside it. But the world feels closer again, in small, ordinary ways. I notice warmth in familiar voices, I hear songs staying with me afterward. I stay present longer in conversations now, instead instead of drifting somewhere distant halfway through. And somehow that feels bigger than I can explain. There are still moments where loneliness reaches me unexpectedly. Still evenings my thoughts grow heavy without warning first. But I no longer disappear so quickly. The feeling moves through differently now, like cold wind passing through open trees, without stripping every branch bare. Yes, the world feels closer again. Not brighter, not perfect, just easier to remain inside. And every piece of grief within me feels softer when it returns, like distant headlights fading gradually across empty roads after midnight. I thought healing would feel dramatic, but maybe it begins here, the moment life stops feeling so far away from you. The world feels closer again. The ache still reaches me certain nights, but it no longer separates me from everything still quietly alive around me. And tonight, for once, I let myself stay fully inside the moment, without needing to escape ahead of it. Softly, the world came back into focus, and I stayed long enough to feel it. Some nights my heart still startles easily. It changes too small to explain. A slower reply, a softer goodbye, a pause that lasts slightly too long. And before I can reason with it, my body remembers older fears, like certain wounds still wait quietly at the smallest shift in the air. But I don't disappear into it the same way anymore. I let the feeling move through slowly, without turning every fear into proof that loss is already coming. And somehow that softens something deep inside me, like my nervous system finally learning. Not every silence carries abandonment inside it. There are still evenings where my thoughts wander farther than I want them to. Still moments I rewrite ordinary sentences, looking for distance hidden underneath them. But I return sooner now. I don't stay trapped inside the spiral for hours. The loneliness still brushes against me, but it no longer darkens the whole landscape around me. No, I don't disappear into it the same way anymore. The fear still rises unexpectedly, but it no longer decides what the rest of the night becomes. And every piece of grief inside me feels quieter beneath my skin now, like telephone wires humming softly across empty farmland after midnight. I thought healing meant never feeling afraid again, but maybe healing begins here. The moment fear arrives and your body no longer mistakes it for the end. Some nights my heart still startles easily. The ache still reaches me without warning, but it no longer convinces me that every beautiful thing is slipping away. And tonight, for once, I let the silence settle naturally around me, without trying to outrun it first. Softly, the wind moved through the fields, and my breathing stayed slow. I can feel my breathing slow now. I can feel the weight give way. What was pressing on my heart doesn't have to live there today. There is nothing I must prove now. There is nothing I must hide. I can let the hurting loosen. I can leave it by my side, safe in the soft light, safe in the slow, held by a mercy my heart can know. Safe in the soft light, warm and deep, a little more healing I get to keep. I don't need a sudden answer. I don't need to rush the dawn. There is comfort in the quiet, was restless turns more gentle. What was heavy turns to air. Love can reach the tired places and find me waiting there. If the old ache comes tomorrow, I will breathe and let it pass. I have learned that tender healing does not need to move too fast. Safe in the soft light, safe in the clear, a little more peace is living here. Safe in the soft light, soft and true, every broken part of me finds its way back through. Today my heart woke softer than it did a while ago. Not because the pain is over, just because it lets me slow. There is kindness in the breathing. There is room to feel and trust. What was heavy in my body isn't holding on as much. Peach light in my pulse, warm and low, turning all my tired places toward a gentler glow. Peach light in my pulse, soft and true, every fragile part within me lets the healing through. I don't need to name the sorrow, I don't need to force it gone. There is mercy in the waiting, there is strength in moving on. What was closed begins to open, what was tense begins to rest. Love can find the hidden places and leave warmth inside my chest. If the old ache finds me later, I will breathe and stay with me. I have learned that tender healing can be quiet and still run deep. Peach light in my pulse, clear and deep, her way through. I used to hold the sorrow like it had a right to stay, like every tender part of me was made to bear the weight. But something in the silence began to turn and break. A softer kind of mercy brought ivory through the ache, ivory through the ache, quiet and slow, not a flash of lightning, just a gentle glow. Ivory through the ache, soft enough to stay, turning all the hurt in me toward a kinder way. I can feel the tightness easing, I can feel the fear grow thin. There is peace inside the breathing, there is room to live again. What once felt too sharp to carry and now moves lighter when it wakes. Love can come in patient colors, like ivory through the ache. If the old pain rises in me, I won't hand it all my name. I have learned that healing sometimes looks like softness without shame. Ivory through the ache, warm and clear and true. A little more of life returns in everything I do. Ivory through the ache, steady as a flame. What was torn and tired in me will not stay the same. When evening folds its quiet wings around, I feel the weight of every day come down. But somewhere deep, a softer current flows and carries me where gentler waters go, where the light remembers who I am. It holds me softly like an open hand. No need to prove, no need to hide away. Here in its warmth, I'm allowed to stay. The scattered pieces of my weary soul begin to find their way back to the whole. Each broken edge is met with tender grace and finds its place in this quiet space, where the light remembers who I am. It holds me softly like an open hand. No need to prove, no need to hide away. Here in its warmth, I'm allowed to stay. And I let it hold me as if I've always been enough. Where the light remembers who I am. It sings me home without a single word. In every shadow, in every scar, the light still knows exactly who we are. I can feel the tiredness leaving, like a hand unclenching slow. What was heavy in my breathing doesn't have to follow home. There is calm beneath the shaking. There is warmth beneath the blue. Something kind is rising in me, something steady, something true. Morning finds me gentle. Morning finds me whole. Not because the hurt is gone, but because it lets me go. Morning finds me gentle, warm against my skin, a little more forgiving than the day has ever been. I don't need to fear the silence. I don't need to fill the space. There is healing in the stillness. There is comfort in the grace. What was aching starts to soften. What was restless learns to rest. Love can reach the quiet places and make a home inside my chest. If the old pain brushes by me, I will breathe and let it fade. I have learned that tender healing can be strong without a flame. Morning finds me gentle. Morning finds me clear. A little more alive again. A little less held by fear. Morning finds me gentle, soft and bright and true. Every broken part of me finds a kinder way through. I can feel the night grow lighter, even where the hurt has been. What was heavy in my body doesn't press the same again. There is calm inside the quiet. There is warmth beneath the blue. Something soft is moving through me. Something steady, something true. Citrine in my breathing, warm and slow, turning all the tired places toward a tender glow. Citrine in my breathing, clear and deep, a little more of healing I get to keep. I don't need to force the morning. I don't need to chase the sun. There is mercy in the waiting. There is peace in what I've become. What was closed begins to loosen. What was strained begins to rest. Love can find the hidden corners and make a home inside my chest. If the old ache finds me later, I will breathe and let it move. I have learned that quiet healing still has power to pull me through. citrine in my breathing, soft and bright. A little more of living comes back into light. Citrine in my breathing, warm and new. Every broken thread within me finds a gentler way through. There was a time my heart went quiet, not from peace but from the strain. Like the color had gone missing from the feeling in my name. I kept moving through the softness with a weight I never knew, till a little warmth came rising like gold in the blue. Gold in the blue, slowly shining through. Not enough to blind the darkness, just enough to lead me through. Gold in the blue, soft and steady truth. Every tender part of healing brings a little gold in the blue. Now the hurt feels less like ending, more like something passing by. Less a shadow I live under, more a change in how I try. I don't need a grand redemption, I don't need the whole world new, just a faithful kind of mercy like gold in the blue. If the old ache reaches for me, I will not give in that fast. There is quiet strength within me. There is light that learns to last. And the love I could not feel then wasn't gone, just hidden through, waiting for the hour it found me as gold in the blue. Gold in the blue. Now I know it's true. Healing does not come in thunder, it comes breathing me back through. Gold in the blue, warm enough to move. Every tender part of living turns a little gold in the blue. Gold in the blue, still coming through. was carrying old sorrow, like it still had room to grow. Every tender part within me moved a little tired and low. Then a softer shade came over, not to fix what used to be, just to lay a quieter comfort, like moss green mercy over me. Moss green mercy, soft and deep, a little peace I get to keep. Moss green mercy, warm and slow, teaching all my restless places how to let go. I don't need to rush the healing, I don't need to force the light. There is kindness in the waiting, there is grace inside the night. What was heavy starts to loosen, what was sharp begins to ease. Love can move in patient colors and still find all of me. If the old ache turns and finds me, I will breathe and let it pass. I have learned that gentle living can outlast what did not last. There is strength inside the softness, there is truth in being worn, there is hope inside a heart that keeps choosing to be warm. Moss green mercy, clear and true, a little more of living comes walking through. Moss green mercy, soft and wide, every broken thread in me finds a kinder side. A distant bell rings soft inside my chest, calling me back to where I can rest. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, just gently pulls me by the hand. This is the bell that calls me home through every storm I've ever known. Its sound is quiet, its touch is kind, it brings me peace I cannot find. through fire, I've walked through rain, carried sorrow, carried shame. But every time I lose my light, this bell still rings soft through the night. This is the bell that calls me home through every storm I've ever known. Its sound is quiet, its touch is kind, it brings me peace I cannot find. And when the world grows loud and cold, I close my eyes and let it toll. This is the bell that calls me home, the sweetest sound I've ever known. It rings so soft inside my soul. This bell brings me home. I was all hushed, all worn thin, holding on to what had been. Then a slow warmth moved within, small and deep, amber in the still, amber in the still, soft and low. Not a fire, just a glow. Amber in the still stays with me, calm enough to set me free. I don't chase what is gone, I let peace lead me on. What once ached starts to heal, little flames, amber in the still. If the old weight comes again, I breathe out, I let it thin. There is strength, soft and real. There is love I can feel, amber in the still, too much, just enough here. Amber in the still clear and true. Slowly now I come back through. I used to fill every empty moment before my thoughts could catch up to me. Keeping busy felt safer than sitting still with my own heart. But exhaustion changes something in you. It makes pretending harder to maintain. And somewhere in all that tiredness, I stopped running every time sadness appeared. Now I no longer argue with the feeling. I let it arrive, I let it fade, without turning it into catastrophe. And all the hurt I carry quietly feels different beneath my skin these days. Like a door left slightly open instead of always shutting hard against the world. Some nights still feel heavier than others. I still reach for distraction sometimes, but I notice the feeling sooner now, before it swallows the whole evening. I stopped demanding peace from myself. The second pain returned, and somehow that changed me more than all the years I spent resisting what I felt. Now I no longer argue with the feeling. The heaviness doesn't frighten me the same way. Not healed, not fearless, just less at war with my own mind. And every piece of grief inside me feels quieter when it returns, like distant lights dimming slowly at the edge of a long drive home. Thought strength meant never falling apart. Now I think strength is softer than that. Maybe strength is this, staying open even after being hurt deeply. I no longer argue with the feeling. The ache still rises unexpectedly sometimes, but it no longer convinces me that everything inside me is collapsing again. And tonight, for once, I let the feeling move all the way through me, without trying to stop it halfway. Softly, the heaviness passed through, and I remained. find my way back to this quiet space where nothing asks me who I have to be, just the simple grace of being me. This is the room I return to when the weight becomes too much to carry through, a place where every part of me is welcomed home, no questions asked, no need to prove. Here the tired heart can lay its load, the hidden fears can finally unfold. I sit among the pieces I once tried to hide and feel them soften in the warmest light. This is the room I return to when the weight becomes too much to carry through, a place where every part of me is welcomed home, no questions asked, no need to prove. And in this stillness I begin to see the kindest version of myself, looking back at me. This is the room I return to, the safest harbor I have ever known. Here I am enough, here I am whole. This is the room I